by registering online. We'll discuss this and more. Today's top headlines. I'm Ernie Manouse.
And I'm guest host, Houston Public Media's Matt Harab. We'll also share a special tribute to the last 30 years of Ernie's time here at Houston Public Media and hear from some special guests.
Plus, we'll also revisit my 2016 interview with the award-winning actress Pam Grier from my series Interviews with Ernie Manouse ahead of this weekend's appearance at Comicpalooza.
And as always, we want to hear from you. Give us a call or text us at 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders, by Metro, and by gifts from listeners like you.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Kristen Wright. President Trump is slamming Senate Republicans. They've refused to fund the White House ballroom as part of a GOP measure on immigration enforcement. NPR's Sam Greenglass reports some Republicans worry Trump's verbal attacks could interfere with his agenda.
Even before the Senate parliamentarian nixed the ballroom funding, top Republicans acknowledged there may not be enough votes to pass it. Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana said he would not, days after he lost his primary to a Trump-backed challenger. Senator Lisa Murkowski said the mood further soured this week after Trump endorsed against Senator John Cornyn of Texas.
Maybe he doesn't think he needs us, but the laws don't just appear before his desk to sign.
Trump demanded Senate Majority Leader John Thune fire the parliamentarian and wrote, "Get smart and tough, Republicans, or you'll all be looking for a job much sooner than you thought." Sam Greenglass, NPR News, Washington.
The House is expected to vote this afternoon on a resolution to try to force President Trump to withdraw U.S. troops from the war with Iran. Democrats are pushing the measure under the 1973 War Powers Act, which requires congressional authorization to send American troops to war. President Trump says he doesn't need the approval, though, because of the ceasefire. The war with Iran will soon mark 3 months. NPR's Aya Batrawi reports President Trump says he's impressed with Iranian negotiators and willing to wait a couple more days for an agreement before deciding whether to strike again.
Iran's position is that they are negotiating the terms of a permanent ceasefire in good faith through mediators like Pakistan, but that they also have suspicion, given that the last 2 times they were in the midst of talks with the Trump administration, the U.S. and Israel launched war. Now, Iran says it prefers diplomacy, but its armed commanders are threatening an even wider war if Iran is attacked again.
NPR's Aya Batrawi also reports Trump has been speaking with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as deadly Israeli strikes in southern Lebanon continue. The two had a call this week described as tense and contentious. Despite a historically unaffordable housing market, more Gen Zers in their 20s are managing to buy a home. NPR's Jennifer Ludden reports they're outpacing millennials when they were the same age.
In Milwaukee, 27-year-old Francisco Vazquez manages a fast food restaurant and just bought a 3-bedroom home that cost half the national median price. He saved up aggressively for the down payment, partly while living with his parents.
Most of my paycheck, probably like 70%, into just broad index stock.
Compared to millennials, Gen Z home buyers last year were less likely to have student loan debt or get help from parents. That's according to the National Association of Realtors. They were more likely to tap down payment assistance and to be single buyers. Jennifer Ludden, NPR News.
It's NPR.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Tom Perumian. Rain is moving into the area as we speak. The good news is the heavy stuff, high winds and possibly hail, looks to be off the coast in the Gulf, according to radar right now. However, steady rain is expected for most, if not all, of today. Rain is in the forecast each day for the next week. Fort Bend County Commissioners voted 3-1 along party lines to approve paying interim County Judge Daniel Wong's Chief of Staff over $13,000 a month in consulting fees. Trevor Nails will serve in the county position, as he's also running as the Republican candidate in Texas's 22nd congressional district to replace his twin brother, Congressman Troy Nails, who's retiring. University of Houston political science lecturer Nancy Sims was on Houston Matters Wednesday. She said while Wong paying Nels is legal and follows the rules, it also creates a negative public perception.
He's given him a boost so he can work on his campaign, work for the county, And he has law enforcement background, so maybe he'll be helping him. But it definitely does not look well.
Nails has received over $180,000 in total political contributions since October, this according to filings with the Federal Election Commission. Taking a look at sports, the Astros lost to the Minnesota Twins yesterday afternoon, 4-1 the final in that one. Houston has 11 more losses compared to the number of wins that they had at this time last year. They're 20-31. The Astros have the day off in order to travel to Chicago. They get ready for a start a series against the Cubs tomorrow. First pitch will be at 1:20 in the afternoon. Taking a check of your weather, showers and thunderstorms today with a high near 80 degrees. Tonight, mostly cloudy with some showers in the area with a low around 72. Right now, light rain, fog and mist, 74 degrees on the UH campus. I'm Tom Perumian, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Progressive Insurance, where drivers can compare direct rates using Progressive's rate comparison tool. Customers can see options and rates side by side. More at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
From Houston Public Media and News 88.7, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now, Hello Houston.
And hello there, Ernie Manouse with you, and my special guest host for what seems to be turning into a very special day is the one and only Matt Harab. You know him every mornings. That's good.
All the mornings.
All the mornings. He keeps you informed of what's going on the world around you, and I'm happy to have him here with me today. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Ernie. It is a very special day today. It is good to be with you.
It is good to have you with me.
Yeah.
We started this little craziness back. When did you first get here?
2019. It was actually 3 months before the pandemic. I came to Houston Public Media.
And then I have you trumped on that one, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But when you first got here, then we went very shortly into the show, Town Square, and you came on that show at the end of every single episode because we were in a time where news was happening so fast. To take an hour to do a talk show about even the pandemic, we couldn't keep up with the advances and the changes that were happening, and you were right there to share it.
Well, the changes were happening every day. I remember I used to cover those press conferences with the late Mayor Sylvester Turner. He used to have them at 3 o'clock in the afternoon every weekday during the pandemic just to give an update on the cases and where we were with the testing and all of that. And your show would start at 3, and I would come on. The press conference and your show started at the exact same time. And so I would be half listening to the show, half listening to the press conference, but mostly the press conference, and then coming on at the very end to give the latest on where we were with COVID. It was quite a time.
It was a different time. People always look back at that and don't seem to remember how little we knew and how we learned as it was evolving.
Yep.
And it's easy in hindsight to look back at that situation and give certain reactions to it. But you got to put yourself in the moment. There was no vaccine. There was no knowledge of what was going on. There was knowledge of, we didn't understand the severity of everything. We didn't know how to contain it initially. And so being able to do that show together, we were able to help this community, I think, understand the moment we were in the moment it was happening.
Yeah, it was, again, news came down at 3 o'clock, and we were able to bring it to you before 4 o'clock live. And Ernie, if I can say, you sometimes would give me like 30 seconds instead of like 2 minutes. You would kick it to me, and I'd already hear the end music credits, and it would be like, okay, here we go. 800 cases today, testing sites open tomorrow.
Yeah, it was kind of a crazy time. But I bring all of that up to say we had the opportunity to work together during that time. And we built quite a friendship and a relationship through that. And I've gotten to watch you marry and have children.
Yeah.
It's been a wild number of years.
It has.
So anyway, thank you for joining us today sitting in and hosting with me. And why are you here today hosting?
I'm here today to celebrate you. Yes.
Me?
This is Ernie's 30th anniversary show, which means that today is actually the day you came to Houston Public Media 30 years ago today.
30
was your
years
first
ago
day.
today, I
Wow.
walked through the front
How about
doors
that?
of Houston Public Media
Wow.
and never found the exit.
They don't want to let you go.
Well, no, I
keep
think
you
they've
here.
directed me toward it a few times, but I never actually found it, so
You
I
have
just stuck around.
ignored that direction very well.
Well, we will be talking anniversary, I guess. I hear there's some surprises in store over the next 2 hours when it comes to the anniversary. But if you think that means we are neglecting a complete rich Hello Houston, you are wrong, because we've got so much happening on today's show. Al Green is going to be joining us. He is running for Texas 18th to represent this newly formed district. He has been a long-time representative of ours. He'll be joining us to talk about his race. We had Christian Menefee on just a while back. In addition to that, Comicpalooza comes into town this weekend, and Pam Grier, legendary actress, is going to be at Comicpalooza. I had the opportunity to chat with her a little bit ago, and we're going to be playing part of that interview for you today as well. It is Thursday, so what does that mean?
What does that mean? You tell me.
Current obsessions.
Current
What are you
obsessions.
currently obsessed with? We want to know. Start emailing those in at talk@hellohouston.org or calling or texting 713-440-8870. Or my favorite place to get information, whether it's right or wrong sometimes, is over in our YouTube chat. In the chat group there, people chime in, share thoughts, feelings. Like Alex Garza Photo just wrote, 30 years ago, gas prices were $1.25.6
Wow.
per gallon. I remember back when I was first here, going to the gas station, and gas had gotten even cheaper than that at one point. And I thought to myself, did you know it's more expensive to buy a gallon of water at the grocery store than a gallon of gas for your car? Those times have changed.
They have changed significantly. We have quite a few comments coming here. My British computer guy says, happy anniversary. Have a great show. Congratulations on this milestone.
Thank you.
So we're getting, so give us a call if you'd like to say hi to Ernie and congratulate him on his 30th anniversary. It is quite a feat to be able to do that in this business.
Well, you know, a lot of people, you'll see a lot of folks in this business that have been around for a while. Not to toot my own horn or whatever the expression is that I got to do it all in the same organization. And people who will say, you know, oh my God, 30 years doing the same thing. The beauty is I haven't done the same thing. We'll talk about that later in the show. And I've had the opportunity to do different types of programs. I've worked in the television side. I've gotten to work in the radio side. So even though I've been in the same place, it has been a lot of different experiences.
And if I can say, Ernie, one thing that I think is, I'll toot your own horn here for a second.
My own horn?
Your horn. One thing I think is special about you, and you don't see this, I've worked in a couple of different places, is you really are welcoming to everybody in every department. I mean, everybody knows you. Second floor, first floor, third floor. Like, you open yourself up, you cross over. Like, I work in the news department, and you were very welcoming to me when it came to talk show stuff. So that is special and rare and doesn't happen, and I've worked in a few different places. So you are really special in that way. Yeah.
I guess my thought on it is when I come to someplace new, there's nothing weirder than not being accepted in at a place that's now going to be your new home.
Mm-hmm.
And I always want to make the new folks feel as though they're welcome.
Yeah.
And so
you
I
do.
always try and do
You
that.
absolutely do. I remember my desk was over by the printer before we remodeled here on the second floor, and you would come over and you would tell jokes, and you know the newsroom is very serious. And I was like, "Who's this guy telling jokes?" And I was like, "I want to be friends with this guy. He's got a sense of humor. He's got a personality."
I don't know if I'd call them jokes, but I would come in and be silly.
Yeah.
I hear we have a caller on the line. I'm not sure who it is, but you want to go to the phone?
Let's do it.
Do you know who it is?
I do not know who it is.
Well, let's
Who is
find out. Okay, caller, you're on the line. Who's with us?
Hi, it's Amy Sedaris.
Oh my God, Amy. Hello there.
Hi.
Well,
I just thought I'd call in and see what you guys were up to.
We're not up to much. We're just hanging out. Yeah. Oh, it's so great to hear from you.
Yeah. How are you?
Well, I'm feeling a little old today. And
Are you? Okay.
I'm a little worried that if people start doing the math, they're going to figure out that I've been lying about my age quite a bit. That's always the problem
Greek
with
Stone
these.
Age. Greek Stone Age.
Yes. Amy, I know you're calling in. I truly appreciate this, but I know there's I may be celebrating 30 today, but a good friend of yours is saying goodbye to a show that has become legendary in television media and such. Can you give us a little hint what's going to happen on The Late Show tonight?
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it. Last night was fun. That was top secret, where he had a bunch of, his guests on who got to sit down and ask Colbert questions. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah. And then Bruce Springsteen closed the show. Yeah. But it was really, it's like bittersweet. You're sad that he's leaving, but Colbert is like too good for CBS. You know what I mean? He's just too good it's time, and he's going to blossom, and I can't wait to see what he does next.
Do you have any hints or ideas what he may do next? And if you do, are you able to say anything or no?
Yeah, well, he said he's going to work on a screenplay with his son, Peter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty much what he wants to do, and that'll make him really happy. He likes audiences. He'll get out there. He's going to do something else.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But it's sad. And then tonight there's a little rap party, so.
Oh, cool.
I'm going to go to that, see everybody, because I have a lot of friends that work on the show. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I will have to say that meeting you and the warmth and grace you gave me when we first met, and that because of our Greek heritage, we've been able to build a little friendship out of all of that. And it's always wonderful to have my Greek friend calling in.
We really did have a connection, and you were just so good, and I never forget who's really good, because I had to interview someone last week, and I was like, oh my God, this is so hard. Very seldom do I interview people. It's not my thing, but it's a tough spot to be in. But you were just a pro. You're just so good at it,
Aww. Well, you know what I'll say, and I say this often when people talk about or will say, oh, you did such a good job interviewing this or that, and I always say back, it's like dancing. One person can be a great dancer. If the other person isn't willing to dance with you and isn't at your same level of dancing, it doesn't matter. And you are a wonderful dance partner.
Oh, well, that's nice. I guess you could say the same thing about sex. Like, I think sometimes when people, cut in front of you when you're walking down the street, I'm like, oh, you must be bad in bed, Awful partner. But I know what you mean. It is a dance. But the hard part is you want to ask a question, but you also want to be engaged with a person. You don't want to look down at your paper, or you just have to know that you've got it in your head and you're just going to have this wonderful conversation. And but it doesn't always work out that way. But with you that night, I was just like, oh, my God, I hope I know him for the rest of my life.
And it looks like you're going to be stuck with me for the rest of your life. So, yeah. So quickly, what's keeping you busy these days?
I have a movie. I have a small part in a Jennifer Lopez movie called Office Romance. And it was a blast to work on. I can't say what my part is, but that opens soon. And then I'm on an animated series called Kevin on Amazon that Aubrey Plaza produced, which is also a lot of fun. I'm just doing my younger brother's voice.
Oh, that is awesome.
Which is exhausting. Yeah. And then, just working on whatever comes my way. It's been kind of slow, but, I'm always busy. I'm always swamped somehow. Well, I keep myself busy.
If folks don't follow your social media, they are missing out on quite an adventure. And boy, oh boy, do you keep busy.
We try. I try.
And I always say this, and I have to say it before I let you go, is that your Mimi Canassis on the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt is still something that I look at, and every time it makes me laugh. I notice new nuance in that performance that is just hysterical.
No, I wish I could still play her. She was a lot of fun. She looked like a woodland creature.
Yeah.
I looked like a fox, a small face and big country club haircut. Yeah. I'm Greek.
Amy, thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you. Listen, happy anniversary.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay. Oh, that is so cool.
That's nice.
I have to say, when you look back, and I know this isn't the point where we're supposed to be reflecting on my career, but
we can. It's your show.
Well, thank you. It's all of our show. It's Hello Houston. It's Houston's show. Call in. Yeah. Chat with us. We're looking forward to hearing from you. 713-440-8870. What I was going to say is it has afforded me the opportunity to be in the rooms with some wonderful people and to meet some really accomplished, amazing people, to talk comedy with Amy Sedaris. And to see just a real person there, where this is their craft and they work at it. Like we celebritize people.
Yeah,
to
they're
this certain
people, they're
level.
breathing and walking just like us. Do you have a favorite Amy moment, Amy story that you want to share? No, I'm putting you on the spot.
You are
there,
putting
but-
me on the spot. I don't know if I have a favorite moment. Like the times with her are always just joyful. It was funny. Her brother, David Sedaris, was coming to town, and we were trying to coordinate an interview with him. And Amy was like, I'll take care. I'll call him. And then a couple days later, she calls me back, and she was like, has David reached out to you yet? And I was like, no. She's like, oh, let me talk to him. And she hung up the phone. And about 10 minutes later, I got an email from David Sedaris. It's like, Amy told me I need to get a hold of you. And it's little things like that that are funny.
Yeah.
But my whole point about that is they're just a family too. And it's a brother and sister, and they, there's a whole bunch of siblings, and they have their inner rivalries and talks and friendships and stuff. And you forget that they are living on the same level we are, in that we have family relationships and we reach out.
We're all breathing the same air here, right?
We are.
Yeah.
And so I love that air, and I love that we get to breathe it. So that's really fun. I hear we have another person. This feels so weird, like hosting my own tribute show.
Well,
I'm
let's
not
see
dead.
what's going.
I just want to remind everyone, this is a 30-year anniversary. It's not because on this show, every time someone does a show like this, they're leaving the show.
Ernie is staying.
I'm staying.
Yes.
So I just want y'all to know that. But we do have another guest joining us. Do you know who this guest is?
I do not.
You need to stay up on what's happening.
I know.
on this
What
show.
is happening?
I believe that we happen to have an elected official joining us. Who's with us now? Are we there?
Hi, Ernie, Sylvia Garcia. Happy anniversary.
Hey.
Representative Garcia, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me, and 30th anniversary is a pearl, but, you're a gem in my book, no matter what, whether, you name the gem. So I think that Houston has been lucky to have you these last 30 years. And I certainly look forward to continue to work with you, Ernie, to just tell the story about Houston the next 30 years.
And what do we have here,
Something
Ernie?
was just walked into the studio from the House of Representatives. Can you fill me in on this? Are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, I was wondering
who is there?
Who is with me? You want to step over to that mic right there?
I think with you is Gloria Moreno. She is the district director for my office, which means that, she's our face and our manages the folks that are in the district working hard to answer constituent complaints. But we also have the honor of presenting, congressional certificates and, more importantly, statements to the congressional record. So this morning, Ernie, we filed here in Washington a statement to the congressional record. Means it'll be there forever as part of our records here in the United States Congress on congratulating you on your 30th anniversary. And Gloria has the certificate to show you.
I see it.
Gloria?
Hi, thank you so much, Congresswoman. So, Ernie, we're just so excited to bring the official congressional record to you. We wanted to make sure that you got it on your special day because, as a Congresswoman mentioned, you will forever be part of the official House record. We want you to know that while you've been 30 years here in the Houston area with Houston Public Media, you'll be forever in the House of Representatives archives. So isn't that phenomenal?
That is so cool.
That is awesome.
Look
Representative,
at that.
thank you so much. That is amazing.
Ernie, it was filed this morning, and it usually takes, 2 or 3 working days to get processed and put in the official records. But people who want to see all the great words that we said about you, your infectious smile, your easy style, your demeanor of just being able to make people feel comfortable and trust you. And right now, when it comes to journalism and reporters, we have to really, really thank God that there are some people we know we can trust. You certainly have been a trusted journalist for all these years. So people can go and see what we said. It'll be available online through the U.S. Congress webpage.
You know, it's rare you catch me speechless, and you have caught me speechless.
We did it.
When you said that Gloria from your office was coming in and she usually handles complaints, I was expecting something the total opposite direction.
No, well, she does a lot more than that, too. She represents me when I'm not down there for so many events and takes constituent complaints and manages the office there. Because Ernie, you know my motto, it's all about keeping the peeps happy and making sure we respond to them. So she does a lot of great work for us together with the rest of our team there in the district.
Well, I'm holding it up right now so that they can grab a shot of it here with our studio camera to show the Congressional. I mean,
I see it.
This is just awesome. I don't know what to say. I'm speechless, and I can't wait for a moment to be able to read through the things that they fooled you into saying nice about me.
Well, do you want me to
I
read
don't want
some of it?
anybody fact checking us, okay?
Yeah, don't fact check it. Representative, this is so wonderful. And what makes it even more touching at this moment is I know there's so much hard work you folks are doing on the Hill and trying to move things forward for all of us in this area. And so if I can just take a moment or two just to ask you a little bit about how things are going up there for you and the work that you are focusing your attention on. I know that I received a recognition, but that takes up just a small part of the really hard work you're doing up there. Can you share with me a little bit about what's the passion right now?
Well, right now we're in the middle of a fight over, a ballroom, a $1 billion ballroom that the president wants in the White House. And you may recall that at the beginning when he tore down the East Wing and he said he was going to build a ballroom, it was supposed to be all paid for by donors. And I think the cost was like maybe $400 million. Actually, it was $200 million. Then he said, well, no, it's going to cost more. It's going to be $400 million. Now he's trying to get it done through taxpayer funds up to the tune of $1 billion. And I'm certainly not voting for that. I would never vote for that. And then additionally, he's trying to get more money for ICE. And Ernie, as you know, ICE has had a recent history of, killing people, being violent and cruel. And we want some reforms before we give them any more money. But they're trying to get them $72 billion more dollars. Mm-hmm. So it's really, everything is hung up on those two issues. We may be working into the night today, maybe into tomorrow. They're telling us that we may even be working here Saturday because the president wants all this done by June 1st. So who knows what will happen, but I can assure you that I'm not voting for one more penny for ICE, and I'm not going to be about supporting the $1 billion ballroom boondoggle.
Mm-hmm. The other area that has gotten a lot of people's attention right now is this, some are calling it a slush fund, a payment out to people. Some are characterizing it as for Trump cronies who feel as though they were wrongly attacked by the Biden justice system. Where do you sit on this? What's your understanding of this and the not just the legality of it, but does it automatically move forward at this point?
Well, I don't. The White House sent a one-pager today, which means, like a one page of why they think they need this. And it just makes no sense. First of all, it all started because Donald Trump sued IRS. So imagine that already. Mm-hmm. You're suing one of your own agencies. That just has never happened before. And he sued them for $10 billion.
Right.
So this is a settlement of that lawsuit. And what they settled on was this slush fund and piggy bank for Donald Trump to just give money to his friends and especially to those folks that attacked the Capitol back in on January 6th a couple of years ago. So here he's proposing to give money to people who will claim that they were weaponized by the Biden administration, even though these folks may have brutalized, injured, and in some cases, at least that one officer was killed. So, rewarding them with money. So this is like his own personal slush fund. He's trying to make the Treasury of the United States his personal piggy bank. And that is something that I certainly am not going to vote for. And it's having a lot of trouble also, I understand, in the Senate. So I don't think that that's gonna get past the Senate either. So we'll wait and see. I'll be here till we have to.
Yeah, help me understand this part of it, though. Because it was a settlement in a lawsuit, how does Congress play into it? Do they have to approve the fund?
We actually don't unless we have to appropriate the dollars. But we don't, because it's a settlement of lawsuit. Right. So you hit it right on the nose. And what's worse is his current acting attorney general is his former lawyer. Right. So already you have another conflict, because, the question becomes, who was he really looking after? Whose interest was he protecting in the settlement? Was it his former client, or was it the United States of America? Because the other thing it does, Ernie, which is very, very troubling, in this settlement, there's a part of the agreement is that the IRS and the Justice Department will not pursue any claims, audits, or any investigation of Donald Trump, his family, or his companies.
Right.
That all that has to stop. And that would have cost Trump, I'm told, I've read, about $100 million is what it was, the controversy. So the very idea that they would just forgive all that also just tells you that this agreement was not made in the interest of the taxpayers. It was made in the interest of Donald Trump and his personal agenda.
Fascinating and disturbing and
well, it's corruption at its highest, in broad daylight, in front of everybody, but somehow he continues to get away with it, much like he's getting away with spending $2 billion a day on a war that nobody wants. So this president is just doing all he can to enrich himself and his family before he leaves office. I'm sure you read about the 3,700 stock trades that he's done while in office. And he trades in stock that are companies where he sees that he's doing action by executive order or through some legislation. He sees it coming and he trades in that stock. Again, a conflict of interest.
Yeah. And just
corruption.
To go back, and then I want to go back to the stock stuff, but to go back to the IRS situation there. So if I understand correctly, so the settlement, if everything goes through with what they want, the settlement of almost $2 billion, they keep saying $1 billion, but it's much closer to $2 billion, that cannot be paid out to Trump and his family, but it can be to these other folks. But that the other caveat that we were talking about is dropping any kind of investigation or prosecution in IRS terms for Trump or his family in total. Is that also looking forward, or is it just up to this point? Do we know?
Well, I've not read the final agreement, but the initial report suggested that it was like forever. But then I was told that no, it was only for the current ones. So I'd have to look at the final line. But in either case, right, it is corruption at its highest, and it is an acting attorney general that is not acting in at the behalf for the American people. He's working for his former client, Donald Trump. And the thing that also strikes me as making it worse, Ernie, is that the acting attorney general will appoint the commission who will decide who gets the dollars and who doesn't, because that's also a big question. Who gets to pick and choose, and how will people file these claims? Because right now it seems to be made for the January 6th insurrectionists to give them some sort of damages. And that's just, to me, completely abhorrent. The idea that we would reward people who attacked our Capitol, who injured police officers, and just did everything that they did that day. And many of them all of them have been pardoned. Many of them have now committed other crimes now that they've left. They were pardoned. And now you want to reward them with money? To me, it's just a crazy idea, but it's another one of those ideas that Donald Trump probably came up with at 2:00 in the morning in the middle of a tweet.
Yeah. One other thing we've been putting a lot of focus on this show right now, it's been low voter turnout. We are in primary season here. We are doing runoffs right now. I would love for you to encourage folks in the best way that you can why they need to get out there and vote, even if they're feeling voter fatigue. In this area especially, we've been called to the polls many, many times in the last few months. but remind them the significance here.
Well, first of all, thank you for that reminder, Ernie. It's so important. There's a runoff election that's taking place right now. Early voting ends this Friday, and the polls are open 7 to 7. You can find out where your nearest voting location is by going to www.harrisvotes.com. And you can vote at any location. It doesn't have to be the one in your neighborhood, so whatever's convenient. And then if you don't have time to go by Friday, then election day is Tuesday from 7 to 7. Both parties have runoffs, both the Democrat and Republican Party. There are some really critical races. There's the U.S. Senate runoff in the Republican side. There's a congressional runoff on the Democratic side, not only here in the Houston area, but in other parts of the state. There's also a runoff for the Democratic side for a Harris County judge. All those are levels of government that provide critical services to make lives better for people. That's why it's so important. And it's important too, of course, because of all the rights and freedoms that we have, the right to vote is probably the most cherished, because if you vote, then you can vote for someone who's going to protect all of your other rights. So that's why voting is so important, because you get to vote for people that you align with, that you agree with, that will help protect all our freedoms. And as we have seen, there's been some attacks on the Voting Rights Act. There's been attacks on the 14th Amendment. There's been attacks to many parts of our Constitution. So if we want to make sure that we can maintain our freedom and we can maintain our democracy so that we can have that ready for the next generation, you need to get out there and vote. You need to have your say.
One part that I always like to point out to folks, whether you like it or not, the way a lot of districts are drawn lean to a particular party, and those parties are probably going to carry those districts. So in that case, primaries are, in many cases, your real biggest vote in this. If it is a heavily drawn Democratic district, whoever you pick as your Democrat in the primary is probably going to represent you. So don't think of these elections as just early movement toward Election Day. Oftentimes, these are where your voice will really be heard.
That's correct. And there are some races that whoever you select will end up being the winner because of the way the particular district is drawn. So I know that it's something that people need to keep in mind. And just one other little reminder is, we've always had voting on Saturdays and Sundays. That's not the case for this runoff. You've got to vote by Friday early. Otherwise, the only last chance you'll have is Tuesday.
As we see the Supreme Court making these rulings that come to redistricting and districting and how we do it and what's right and what's wrong and who they support, what is Congress doing? What are your moves or moves you have available to you to kind of get some kind of structure back into all of this?
Well, that's tough. We've done a lot of work, and a lot of it is unfortunately up here has just become so partisan and so divided that it's hard to really reach a consensus and move forward on too many things. So we just continue to work at it. And, a lot of members, Ernie, are just like me. We took an oath. We come here to do what's best for our districts and best for our state. And we'll just continue to try to work together as best that we can.
Representative Garcia, it's an honor to have you with us today. It's a thrill to have you on while we're celebrating my 30th. I think we've known each other all 30 years of that I have been here.
We look great for 30, okay?
We do. We do. As I have said, if people are doing the math, I'm in trouble. But I do want to say I don't think I ever would have imagined that I would be in the Congressional record, and I truly appreciate that, and just such a thrill.
Well, thank you, Ernie. You're the best, and again, you're a gem, and we love you, and thank you for everything that you've done to spread the word about how great this city is, and the city of opportunity, and the diversity and all the work that you do. Thank you so much.
Representative Garcia, thank you so much. It's Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia, who represents our area up there in Washington, fighting the good fight all the time. Thank you for joining us. This is an honor.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. Well,
that was special.
That's interesting. You have it in front of you.
Can I read some of this? Because it is pretty cool.
I haven't had a chance to read it. I don't know what it says,
well,
actually.
I will read it to you, okay?
What are you reading first for people who joined us late?
This is going to be part, or it is, as Congresswoman Garcia said, it was submitted this morning, part of the Congressional record. Okay, for 3 decades, this is what it says. Ernie has helped shape the way Houston tells its story. He has earned the respect of people across our city through his thoughtful reporting, his genuine curiosity, and his ability to connect with people from every walk of life. I'll read a little more here. Ernie's impact extends there's a lot here. I'll just get to the highlights. Ernie's impact extends well beyond journalism. He has spent years supporting the arts, championing equality, and giving back to the community he loves. His work has helped strengthen Houston's civic and cultural life in countless ways. That is part of the Congressional record in Washington, D.C.
Wow. That's kind of wild.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool if you ask me.
Well, we'll reflect more. I don't know what to say about that.
One more thing.
Quick.
This is also in the Congressional record. Houston is better because of Ernie. That's written in there. Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. I think Ernie's better because of Houston. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to, we'll probably continue to talk a little bit about the anniversary, but we're also going to visit with actress Pam Grier, who will be at Comicpalooza this weekend. So don't go anywhere.
Meet Theo Choco. We just took his keys for the day and gave him a Ride Metro fare card. This is his story. Visit ridemetro.org/Choco to find out where is Choco.
I'm Scott Detrow. We'll have that story as part of our Climate Solutions Week on All Things Considered from NPR News.
You can hear it today at 3 o'clock.
The most reluctant politician we've ever had just happens to have been our first president.
He wasn't a politician. He understood that the political realm was not where his gifts lay. He was really good in the military realm, but in politics, not so much.
The Extraordinary Life of George Washington. That's next time on Think.
You can listen to Think. It's on tonight at 11 o'clock.
Houston Public Media is licensed to the University of Houston System, governed by the UH Board of Regents. Information about open meetings, dates, times, and locations is online at uhsystem.edu.
Support comes from Metro. World Cup planning includes transit improvements intended to serve Houston after the final match. Metro provides bus, rail, and paratransit service and continues mobility enhancements across the region. More at ridemetro.org/Metro Now.
Tonight on Houston Public Media TV8, a night of mystery and intrigue with Father Brown at 7, followed by the Sister Boniface Mysteries at 8 and Death in Paradise at 9. Tonight on Houston Public Media TV8.
Support comes from the Moody Center for the Arts at Rice University, hosting the opening reception for Masako Miki, Shapeshifters, Sprites, and Spirits on May 29th, 6 to 8 p.m. More at moody.rice.edu.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on today's topics, call or text 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now, Ernie Manouse and guest host Matt Harab.
This weekend, award-winning actress Pam Grier visits Houston for an appearance at Comicpalooza. The iconic Grier started her career in the 70s in a series of films that have gone on to become classics and even cult classics, from The Big Dollhouse, Coffy, all the way up to Foxy Brown. Then the 80s saw her in Something Wicked This Way Come and Above the Law. But her biggest role was arguably in Quentin Tarantino's homage to Pam's 1970s action films in the movie Jackie Brown. As she continues to shine through today, she's been in Tim Burton's Mars Attacks, The L Word, Pet Sematary Bloodlines, and even the current series Them. Back in 2016, believe it or not, 10 years ago, for my TV series Interviews with Ernie Manouse, I had the opportunity to sit down and talk with Pam Grier. Here's part of that conversation.
I was a college student, and Roger Corman had offered me a job in acting, and I said no. I'm a struggling college student with 3 jobs, and I don't know anything about acting. He said, but you would be so perfect. You're authentic. There's no makeup and hair and crazy. You would play this perfect woman in the Philippines in a prison. And I just said, my mom and Gloria Steinem, the women's movement, said, I need to get a degree. I need to be independent. And this horrible event happened. And I said, Roger, I'll take that job. I just want to get out, go away from all of this madness of men trying to oppress you and marry you. And if you're not married, you're not validated in society. And I just said, I'll take the job, but I can't be fired, Roger, seriously. So he had to talk to my mama, Gwen, and he had to promise her that he would not fire me. So he said, here, I want you to read this book. Get this book, The Actor Prepares, by Konstantin Stanislavski. That was my Bible. And when I read that book, for me, it wasn't blaxploitation. For me, it was pure, the method, Neighborhood Playhouse, Actor Studio, Lee Strasberg. It was Chekhov, Cherry Orchard, Stanislavski, how to respect the actor, to be the actor, and what the actor does. And that's when I was mesmerized by what I was reading.
I think a wonderful compliment to what you do is that I think those early films, people forget you were an actress.
Yes.
But it was
in
a role.
That B movie genre. And so what Roger Ebert and a lot of the film reviewers were saying, that I elevated the work. It was for tuition. I couldn't be fired. I said, I'm going to turn this whatever B movie, bra, red t-shirt, wet t-shirt, I'm turning it into, a Stanislavski. It was tongue-in-cheek. It wasn't to be taken seriously. But I would learn my lines, and many of the other actresses would say, oh, you can learn them in the morning. We're used to this. You don't need to. We're going to go out. No, I need to learn the lines, read the book. I did approach those movies and blaxploitation, and people didn't see blaxploitation. They saw their faces.
Yeah.
And it uplifted them. And it was a negative. Some people confused blaxploitation with black magic. Black hat, black negative, black cat negative. It had nothing to do with it. It was a culture. Mm-hmm. The culture was, if they want to say exploitation, yes, blacks did not produce it, but it didn't bring a negative connotation to the storyline. When I graduated from the Roger Corman films, and I was going to stop, I would do 3 films, put the money in the bank, and then see, do I have enough to live and go to school? I can get in UCLA Film School, but I need the money to no grants or scholarships were available. So I said, okay. I was the reluctant actor. I didn't get in the theater film industry to be an actor, possibly a cinematographer or a camera person. Yeah. I didn't feel I was outwardly attractive, pretty, whatever. They called me exotic. Everyone wasn't. They were all American. I said, wait a minute, I'm all American. There's a whole bunch of American in me from all over. And I went through the transition of being, they say you're an actor, but I don't feel like the actor yet. Mm-hmm. I did it for tuition. And as I was learning from Stanislavski and meeting the theater community, it gave me a trajectory of wanting to do, not the blaxploitation, not the Roger Corman films. I did Coffy. I didn't want to repeat it. Foxy Brown was a little more aggressive and progressive. And then Sheba Baby was completely different. And then Friday Foster was a cartoon character. And then because of my success for the film industry, making millions of dollars for people, I said, am I the actor or am I that celebrity? And I started to think, and so they would say, Pam, there's great stories. I know of great stories to take to the studios. And I took the Mary Fields, the first black female stagecoach driver for the mail route in Montana. Gary Cooper had written about her, and it was on the cover of Ebony magazine in '63 of this woman. And I remember the folklore of my family talking about this woman who was a stagecoach driver with a 6 team of horses, and I come from that Black West environment, and I'm going, what a great story. Found the story, took it to a big studio with my agents and stars and people, and they said, the audience will not believe that there was a black female stagecoach driver. And I said, okay, so I'm trying to bring legitimacy. I'm trying to do like good work, good theory, and it's just impossible. No, we really want you to, shoot and kill and jump and drive cars through things. I said, well, that's kind of boring. It's redundant. I don't want to do it.
Did you ever consciously step away from making? Or was it?
I did.
The work wasn't there and you weren't going to do the work?
The work was there. I turned down a lot of work. It was so redundant. I even turned down television series, as I do today, that are quite derivative and they don't bring what I need and what I'm looking for. I had done Fort Apache, the Bronx, and I had to really use my Stanislavski, my method, to get that role, which was and no one could get that role. No one could play that role. Paul Newman was looking, Susskind, Davis Gusson, the producer, Daniel Petrie, the director. They went through everyone, and they couldn't find a woman to play a psychotic serial killer, drugged out hooker. I'm saying, that's not overnight research. That'll give me nightmares. And so I was the last person, and an agent said, hey, Pam, there's no one can find someone to fit this role. And he described it to me, he said, I fit a drug-addicted serial killer hooker? Oh, great. He says, no, you might be able to do it because it takes profound study. You can't just go in and play as this character. You have to live and be this character. It was frightening. So I said, if I can get you the audition, will you go? I said, I don't know. I might stutter. That's the first thing I think of. I'm going to be afraid, and it's going to show that I'm not that shooting, rooting, tooting, I studied martial arts to stop me from studying. So they got me the audition, and once I went to the shooting galleries in New York, and once I went to the drug house, and once I started doing the research, I said, I have bitten off way more than I can chew. No wonder everyone failed. Yeah. You have a discipline. And so they believed in me, and they flew me out, and I cleared my room at the Wyndham Hotel of all the furniture, ate a cherry pie, and got sugar, diabetes, is crazy. And I learned all the scenes, put them together like a monologue, and cut a dress up, red garter belt stockings, some Hello Sailor pumps, and a platinum blonde wig, wild makeup and eyelashes. And I stood in the mirror and went, oh my God, I'm scaring myself to death. But I didn't stutter.
Yay.
Because I was prepared, deeply prepared. And so I walked to the manager knew what he was doing, lovely man. And I said, okay, now I'm here for this audition. Now, I'm going to come out the elevator. Please don't have me arrested, okay? And so he said, I can't wait to see what you're going to do. And I know I love you. So I come down the elevator, and it stops open on a lower floor. And in walks Carol Burnett. And she walks in, and she turns around, she goes, and she has that. And I said, please breathe. Please breathe. I'm an actor. I'm auditioning for Paul Newman. Please don't. I'm not going to hurt you. She was like, okay, you're going to get it. You think, good luck. And I admired her so much. And all I wanted to do was come out of character to worship her. You don't know I want to be a comedian. I love you. And so we go down, and I come out the hotel. I start walking down Avenue Americas towards the theater. And people are like, it's working.
Yeah.
And then the police drive up and stop. I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
A blue and white, hey, mommy, what you doing? You know, I said, well, I'm going to an audition. I'm looking like a drugged out hooker, so please don't arrest me. I have the letter in my pocket. You know, I'm trying to, keep the main, it's my preparation.
Right, stay in character.
Walking up to the theater, and he says, okay, we thought you were for real. We were going to pick you up a little later. And we're like, no, I'm going to tell on you. I'm going to tell your wife. I had to be so profane, so repugnant, so horrible to be this character. When I walked in and I sat down, I said, just read, just start to sing. Just like, you're taking up my time. I got to go make some tricks, shoot up by 9, so come on. And they were like, wow, okay, Paul Newman. And I was like, Paul Newman, I cannot stutter in front of him. I cannot fail in front of him. I have to do this. I know I can do this. And so I had been doing it. The minute I walked in, thank you, Stanislavski.
Yeah.
I had turned a role no one took seriously, and all my past work, it was right there.
Yeah.
And I said, this is what I have to give. This is where I came from, where I am now. And they started applauding. And I opened my eye from my drug-induced, and they said, oh, this was wonderful. It was wonderful. Paul said, he says, wonderful, David. They said, you got the job. And I went, oh, no, I'm really going to stutter now. I don't know if I just wanted to do the audition and go home. I didn't think I'd get it. And next you know, I'm on a 10-month shoot with Paul Newman, doing extraordinary work with him and everyone, the cast members. And I took 4 years off after Fort Apache, the Bronx, to do nothing but theater. I did Fool for Love, the Sam Shepard play, 90 minutes of no intermission. Won awards for it. Everyone came to see it. Eddie Murphy would bring 3 people. The mayor would bring. It was stacked, and directors would come and watch us, like Bruce Beresford, and all the hot directors would come and see our work. And then I did Frank and Johnny the Claire de Lune. I'm going to stutter because you got to be naked on stage. Oh, my God. I thought it was a naked nude suit. Can I be naked? Okay, this is the test. And I did it.
Yeah.
I thought very well. I was pleased. I was the actor. Then I did August Wilson cast all his people. And in honor of being cast by him for the piano lesson, being a pianist, I played a gospel song for him. I composed one for him and sang it. So when the audience came in, they came into me playing, not a soundtrack, but to me really playing, and just to honor him. Oh. And so that's the other side of me. And now I've been to the mountaintop with Quentin Tarantino writing for me. Mm-hmm. And if I hadn't have done the theater, I could have been fired. I may not have been able to do his level of work. And he is demanding.
And that was from my 2016 interview with Pam Grier. You can see the full conversation on YouTube. Just search for Pam Grier and Interviews, INNERVIEWS. Pam will be appearing at the George R. Brown Convention Center for Comicpalooza on Saturday, May 23rd and Sunday, May 24th, with her staged conversation taking place Sunday at 10:30 in room 351. On Saturday at Comicpalooza at 12:30, I'll be in room 351 conducting a stage conversation with actor Edward James Olmos. I hope you'll join us. For more information on everything Comicpalooza, visit comicpalooza.com. Okay, we got a lot more in the show today. Is there going to be more anniversary stuff coming up?
I think so, and we have some comments still pouring in here on our YouTube page, Ernie. My British computer guy says, and we got it from that interview we just played, it is clear that you truly enjoy connecting with people, as we just saw, and that comes across effortlessly. He says, this is the perfect job for your personality, and it really shows in the way you engage in interviews. 30 years here, Ernie.
That. Yes, thank you, because I don't think I can do any other work. I just don't have the attention span. But you know what? Coming up, we're going to continue discussing the news of the day. Plus, Representative Al Green is going to join us and tell us why he thinks you should vote for him in the Texas 18th runoff election. Stay with us for the second hour of Hello Houston.
Stay tuned. There's more Hello Houston on the way. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at houstonpublicmedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media. This is News 88.7.
Your support for Houston Public Media powers the programs you trust and rely on. And your employer may help your contribution go even further. Many employers sponsor matching gift programs, doubling or even tripling employee contributions. It's an easy way to maximize your impact on the programs you rely on. Search for your company and get started today at houstonpublicmedia.org/match.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from Texas Mutual Insurance Company, a workers' compensation provider committed to helping Texas communities and emphasizing safety. More at texasmutual.com/TexansGetIt.
Still rain in the area. We have a 90% chance of showers and thunderstorms today, with a high getting up to around 80, a low tonight near 72. It's 74. This is your NPR station, KUHF. Houston. News 88.7, a service of the University of Houston. It's 12 o'clock.
Just ahead on this hour of Hello Houston, NOAA's released its 2026 Atlantic Hurricane Outlook this morning. We'll break down this outlook and more as we continue discussing today's top headlines. I'm Ernie Manouse.
And I'm guest host, Houston Public Media's Matt Harab. We'll also hear from Congressman Al Green as he gets ready for Tuesday's runoff with Christian Menefee for the District 18 seat.
Plus, it's Thursday, which means it's time to share our current obsessions, and we want to know yours.
That's right. Give us a call or text us with your comments, questions, or current obsessions at 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. You can also watch us live on YouTube by going to houstonpublicmedia.org and clicking that purple box.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders, by Metro, and by gifts from listeners like you.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Kristen Wright. Washington is stepping up its pressure campaign against the Cuban government. Former President Raul Castro's criminal indictment in the U.S. is an escalation of President Trump's push for regime change. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said today Cuba poses a national security threat and a negotiated peaceful agreement between the U.S. and Havana isn't likely right now. He wouldn't reveal to reporters how the U.S. government plans to bring Fidel Castro's brother Raul into custody.
I'm not going to talk about how we're going to get him here. If we were trying to get him here, why would I say to the media what our plans are about that? I know you have to ask, but why would I answer that? The bottom line, there's a lot. At that point, he becomes a fugitive of American justice. And, well, you know, if there's an announcement, we'll tell you afterwards, not before.
Rubio was speaking in Florida on his way to a NATO foreign ministers meeting in Sweden. Raul Castro is charged with murder in connection to the 1996 downing of 2 civilian aircraft operated by the Miami-based exile group Brothers to the Rescue. 4 Cuban Americans were killed. NPR's Ryan Lucas reports.
The administration has been ramping up pressure on Cuba since early January, after the successful U.S. military operation to capture Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, and bring him to the U.S. to face narco-terrorism charges. Since then, the administration has ordered a blockade of Cuba that's cut off fuel shipments. Cuba's economy is in free fall. The CIA director just visited the island for talks, and now we have this Castro indictment. Castro is 94 years old. He's not in U.S. custody, but of course, the shadow of that Maduro raid hangs over all of this. Blanche was asked yesterday how far the U.S. would go to get its hands on Castro. He said there's a warrant out for his arrest. He expects Castro will show up on his own, or as Blanche put it, by another way.
NPR's Ryan Lucas reporting. On Capitol Hill, the House of Representatives is expected to vote later today on a resolution to end the war with Iran. The pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly is studying a next-generation obesity drug. It's not on the market yet, but new study results show it helped people lose more weight than the obesity injections and drugs already on the market. NPR's Sydney Lupkin reports.
Eli Lilly is researching retatrutide. Unlike Wegovy and Zepbound, which target the GLP-1 hormone, this new drug works on 3 hormones, GLP-1, GIP, and glucagon. The company says that in the clinical trial, people taking it for 80 weeks lost an average of more than 70 pounds at the highest dose. That's compared with 5.5 pounds for the patients taking a placebo over the same time period. And people taking Eli Lilly's experimental drug lost more weight than people taking Zepbound or Wegovy over a similar time period in other studies. Common side effects were similar to other GLP-1 drugs, including nausea and other gastrointestinal issues. Eli Lilly has not yet submitted retatrutide for Food and Drug Administration approval. Sydney Lupkin, NPR News.
This is NPR News from Washington.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Tom Perumian. A Houston area man is facing charges after allegedly giving his pregnant girlfriend abortion medication without her consent. Montgomery County District Attorney Mike Hawley says the charges against 25-year-old John DeMitter are among the first of its kind in the state.
In general, the allegations are, and again, they are just allegations at this point, that Mr. DeMitter provided a drug to a pregnant woman who he knew to be pregnant. He did so without her knowledge of the true nature of the drug, that drug caused the death of her unborn child.
DeMitter is charged with illegal performance of an abortion as well as injury to a child. Texas has laws criminalizing abortion, but prosecutors say none of the exceptions apply in this case. The Texas Nursing Board has temporarily suspended Camp Mystic's chief health officer's license over her alleged response to flooding in the Hill Country last summer that killed 27 people at the camp. The board says Mary Elizabeth Eastland failed to develop adequate emergency plans and protocols for campers and staff. The board also alleges that Eastland abandoned the campers and staff while evacuating herself and her own kids. Camp Mystic already announced it was not going to reopen this summer. Taking a look at sports, the Astros catch a ride to Chicago to take on the Cubs tomorrow. With last night's 4-1 loss to the Twins, Houston continues to languish near the bottom of the AL West with a record of 20-31. Checking your weather. Showers and thunderstorms expected today with a high near 80. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy with showers and thunderstorms later on with a low around 72 degrees. For Friday, more afternoon showers and thunderstorms are expected, a high of 82. Right now, light rain and fog and mist, 74 degrees on the UH campus. I'm Tom Perumian, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Fisher Investments. Fisher's dedicated team of specialists provide resources on investing, retirement income, estate planning, and more. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Live from Houston Public Media and News 88.7, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now, Hello Houston with Ernie Manouse.
Sitting in today with me is also news anchor Matt Harab. Hello there, Matt.
Hello, happy 12 o'clock. We're in the afternoon now. I was about to say good morning, but we can't do that anymore.
I thought you were going to say happy 30th anniversary.
It is a happy 30th anniversary day for you, Ernie. Happy 30th.
I'm so
30
happy to
years.
hear that.
How do you feel? 30 years at Houston Public Media. What is that? What is that? When I say that, what do you think?
I think
it's
it
a long
feels
time.
weird because it doesn't feel like 30 years. And I have a very good recollection of my life before I came here, which does not feel like it was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, that seems unreal, you know, and but it's being here. There have been moves and shifts and changes within the 30 years. So they all feel like different chapters. When I first got here, we were in a different building, a different part of the university, and we had a Quonset hut we were in, and that was a whole world unto itself, a different program we did. Then we moved into the new building. Then I've moved floors in the new building. I've shifted between television and radio.
How many different offices have you had?
Not many,
in this building?
actually.
No?
No. In this building, I've had 3.
Because you have a really cool office right now that looks out into
I
the
like
city.
to call it the corner office.
It is a corner office. And it looks right out into the skyline. It's quite beautiful.
Stay here a little while longer, Matt, and you may be able to have a corner office. But the funny thing is, from that corner office, I can look out at the skies, and it's constantly reminding me about the weather.
Yeah, and we got rain in the area. We've had it for the last couple of days, and we're going to have it for the next week. But it looks like that rain is going to clear out by this afternoon, but then we're going to get it for, again, this weekend. But we do have some news that came in regarding the weather, Ernie, just in the last hour here. We have been reporting, or had reported over the last month, I think, about Colorado State's prediction for hurricane season. Well, now we have NOAA prediction for the National Weather Service for this year's hurricane season, and they're predicting a below normal hurricane season for the Atlantic Basin this year. Yes.
Fingers crossed.
NOAA's outlook for the season, which runs, it's coming up, the start of hurricane season, June 1st to November 30th, predicting a 35% chance of a near normal season, just a 10% chance of an above normal season, which is different than previous years, but a 55% chance for a below normal hurricane season. The agency is forecasting a total of 8 to 14 named storms. Of those, 3 to 6 are forecast to become hurricanes, including 1 to 3 major hurricanes. That'd be Category 3, 4, or 5 with winds of 111 miles an hour or higher. Well, how confident is NOAA in these predictions? 70% confident. That's what they say. They're 70% confident. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. An average season has 14 named storms with 7 hurricanes, including 3 major. So coming in right below the average, that is according to NOAA, and that is hot off the press here. That is, they just had a press conference within the last couple of hours here, Ernie.
Well, I look out. We have a camera. If you're not watching us on YouTube, you miss half the show because there are visuals that go along with it, and you can see the skyline from. Or I mean, you could look out the sky. You don't have to watch us to see outdoors. But there is a very heavy cloud shield over the top of the city that looks looming. But I feel like I sense light coming through.
Yeah. I think it will. It will come through. It'll peek through. We'll get some sun. The key to remember, though, with hurricane season is just always to be ready. We all remember 2 years ago with Hurricane Beryl that screamed through, I believe, the first week of July, if I'm not mistaken. And it was a couple of months, maybe the month before that we had a derecho. So they said that had Category 2 winds coming through. So you never really know what's going to happen here.
I will tell you, when I first moved here, we're talking about my 30th anniversary today, having been at the station 30 years. When I first moved here, the very first winter I was here, one of the folks we work with, Joe Brueggemann, I went to work, and there was no one here. And a few minutes later, Joe Brueggemann came into my office in a full, down jacket. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, what are you doing here? It's an ice day. Go home. And I'm like, go home? It's 40 degrees out. Or I came from Chicago.
I was going to say, where you come from.
About? So I learned about the weather here. But also, I've learned a lot over 30 years.
It's been quite a 30 years. And, Ernie, I have to tell you, I have put together a little recap of your time at Houston Public Media over the last 30 years.
You?
Yes, and I think we should play that now. Ernie came to Houston to co-host what became an award-winning magazine TV show, Weeknight Edition, with Doris Childress.
Hi, I'm Doris Childress, host of Weeknight Edition. I've got a new co-host, and I bet you can't guess what his name is. Ernie, get up here and say hello to these folks.
Hi, folks, I'm Ernie.
Watch Weeknight Edition, Monday through Friday, with Doris and Ernie.
That show was Houston Public Media's first ever live and local 5-day-a-week program on Houston PBS. Ernie's first boss, Lisa Yoram, took a chance on him, inserting him into an already established show, even though her audience had never heard of him.
I never, ever got as much as one comment about him being from outside. And I think that also speaks to the Houston community. I think that we are, generally speaking, a very welcoming community because he became a Houstonian almost immediately.
Former Houston Mayor Anise Parker was a city council member at the time that show ran, and she agrees with Yoram, but not just for what he was able to do on TV. Parker says even in the early years, Ernie was active and visible in the community.
In some ways, Ernie is the quintessential Houstonian because he came from someplace else. He connected himself into the community seamlessly, and he has made Houston better.
Ernie's done quite a bit. Outside of producing and hosting several successful TV shows, he's moderated political debates, hosted spelling bees, and produced a few impactful documentaries on hard-hitting subjects. And the generosity. Ernie's helped support both Houston's performing arts and LGBTQ communities immensely. In 2011, Ernie was inducted by former talk show host and philanthropist Joanne King Herring into the Houston Treasures, an organization that recognizes people who raise money and help their communities over long periods of time.
He never asks for anything for himself and generously gives to every well-run charity. That is something that is quite remarkable, and I would love to see the windows of heaven open for Ernie Manouse because he deserves it.
Lynn Wyatt, another legendary philanthropist, also had high praise for Ernie.
He's just such a nice man. When he gets involved, he just goes for it.
Perhaps one of Ernie's most celebrated achievements are the numerous PBS specials he hosted with financial guru Susie Orman, which set records, raising tens of millions of dollars for public television over the years.
Hello, I'm Ernie Manouse. There's still so much more of the program to come, but I have someone important to introduce to you. Not only New York Times bestselling author, not only Emmy Award winner, not only the host of Women and Money podcast, the person who has stood here for 20 years and helped guide us into our financial independence, but as we like to just call her, Susie.
Thank
Ernie,
you so much.
Orman has fond memories of those shows.
The key to the success is to have Ernie standing next to me. It is our chemistry, it is our love for each other, and it is our desire to truly want the best, not only for public television, but for all those who are going to send in their hard-earned money to participate in the magic that we had created.
She says there may have been one thing that concerned her after filming their first special in Minneapolis: Ernie's wardrobe choice.
He had brought all these suits and all these shirts and all these ties, none of them which were good choices to begin with.
Despite his attire, Orman calls Ernie a lifelong friend to this day, as does international best-selling recording artist Nana Mouskouri, who says Ernie earned her respect early on.
She came to see me where I was for the tour. He was my younger brother. He was very intelligent, very smart, so it was lovely.
You hear that a lot from people Ernie's interviewed. He's their friend. Four-time Grammy Award-winning country music artist Lyle Lovett says he immediately admired Ernie after he went on another highly successful Ernie show, Interviews.
Ernie is so authentic, you have to be careful because Ernie is so disarming and he's so engaging that you tend to tell Ernie things that you might not tell somebody else. The interview, it could go anywhere.
Like this interaction.
A lot of attention comes on you. And I'm wondering, as an artist, is that hard for someone, especially someone who is kind of a quiet soul like you are? The whole world's looking at you. Hard or easy?
Well, certainly being presentable in public is always a challenge. Yeah. And being under a lot of scrutiny is.
Perhaps it's moments like these why Ernie's won a variety of awards: 11 Emmys, 5 Katies. He also took the Houston Press Club Lone Star Award, in addition to being labeled as the ultimate interviewer by the Houston Chronicle. Interviews was one of Lyle's favorite shows to go on, because he says he felt like he was talking to, well, you guessed it, a friend.
Ernie has that kind of engaging personality that even when you first meet him, you feel like you've known him your whole life. And so I feel as though I've always known Ernie.
And Ernie, all of us here at Houston Public Media who have known you for a significant period of time feel the exact same way. Like we've always known you. I've known you, 5, 6 years? Suzanne here sends in a comment. She feels like she knows you. She says, back in 1996, and I started working part-time as a receptionist for Channel. We were in the old building, and Ernie, you'd introduced yourself to Suzanne and welcomed her. So people think of you as a friend. On and off. Yeah.
Well, I'm a little concerned listening to that piece when Joanne Herring said that she hopes the windows of heaven open up for Ernie. I think people who are just tuning in may think it's my obituary.
You're
but
still
it's
here.
Not. I'm still
You
here.
are here.
And so is Hello Houston. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to run my conversation with Congressman Al Green as he gets ready for Tuesday's runoff with Christian Menefee for the Texas District 18 seat right here on Hello Houston on News 88.7.
Meet Damola, songwriter, world-class violinist, and award-winning multi-genre artist. We just took his keys for the day and gave him a Ride Metro fare card. Visit ridemetro.org/Damola to learn more about his ride.
Bureaucracy as someone who can solve problems that have bedeviled the United States for years.
I'm Natalie Kitroeff. That's Today on the Daily from the New York Times.
You can hear The Daily coming up tonight at 7.
I'm Jesse Thorne. On Bullseye, Zach Galifianakis on comedy, acting, and his love of fruit and vegetable gardening.
I grew up going to the state fair or the county fair, and I love to see there's the biggest zucchini this year. I'm a simpleton.
Plus, Andy Serkis has directed the movie of his dreams, an animated adaptation of Orwell's Animal Farm. That's on the next Bullseye from MaximumFun.org and NPR.
Bullseye is on tonight at 10.
Did you know your gift to Houston Public Media could go twice or even 3 times as far through your employer's matching gift program? Many companies will match the charitable donations of their employees, and some even match gifts from retirees. That means your support for trusted news and programs could have double the impact for our community. Find out if your company participates at houstonpublicmedia.org/match.
Support comes from Metro. World Cup planning includes transit improvements intended to serve Houston after the final match. Metro provides bus, rail, and paratransit service and continues mobility enhancements across the region. More at ridemetro.org/Metro Now.
Support comes from Asia Society Texas presenting Vion Sora Outer Worlds, a new exhibition featuring Sora's large-scale abstract paintings reflecting her experience living in Iraq. On view now, asiasociety.org/Texas.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on today's topics, call or text 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now, Ernie Manouse and guest host Matt Harab.
Houston voters are heading into an important runoff election for Texas's 18th Congressional District, a race that will help decide who represents this newly drawn district after state leaders altered the congressional map last year. Early voting has already begun and actually ends tomorrow on Friday, with the runoff election set for next Tuesday. Now, in these final days, Democratic candidates are making their final push to connect with voters, and last week, we spoke live on the program with Congressman Christian Menefee, and earlier this week, Ernie had a chance to speak with Congressman Al Green, both running for the 18th Congressional District Democratic runoff primary election. And here now is Ernie's conversation with Representative Green.
We are currently in early voting for the runoffs for many important electable seats within local and national government, with Election Day Tuesday, May 26th. One of the races hotly being watched is for Texas 18th, the much publicized and often voted on district since the passing of Representative Sylvester Turner. What also makes this a fascinating race is that it's between two incumbents, the recently elected Christian Menefee and the long-serving, recently redistricted Al Green. Representative Green joins us right now. Representative Green, thank you for taking the time to chat with us today.
Well, thank you very much. And if I may, I'd just like to share with the persons who are listening and watching, this is a great opportunity to get out and vote early. Until the 22nd, you can vote early. And of course, Election Day is on the 26th. And of course, I need to mention this. This is a seat without an incumbent. The governor, when these lines were drawn, he placed 18 on 2 seats that are in existence at the same time. Highly unusual. Right. But the new 18th is about 2/3 the old District 9 and 1/3 the old District 18. But it's a new seat with no incumbent is where I live and many thousands of the people that I've represented live. So I'm honored to be with you today and to share more with you.
And I think it's an important point that you make about this district. Redistricting confused a lot of people, threw a lot of people off, and also created an occasion where there was lots of voting, lots of days people had to go to the polls. What do you want people to keep in mind this time of why the significance of getting out and voting again?
Well, aside from this race, let's just talk about the Supreme Court for a moment. The Supreme Court has issued a decision that is literally gutting the Voting Rights Act. Now persons can gerrymander in an invidious way, meaning a harmful way, but they can do it under the guise of this is just politics, as opposed to racial discrimination or some other form of discrimination that's prohibited by law. That is a very, very, very sad thing to see occur. And my hope is that people will understand now the importance of casting your vote, how precious this vote is, and how it can make a difference in your life. So please, for many reasons, including what the Supreme Court has done, I ask that people get out and vote, because at some point, there will be another opportunity to place someone else on the Supreme Court. And we want to make sure that your vote counts and that you will have your voice there in the room to influence that process. Now, as it relates to District 18, I would have people know that I'm a senior member in Congress, that I'm in the top 50 in Congress. And if I were coming into Congress today or last week, I would be in the 400s. And in Congress, we do have a seniority system wherein persons who are most senior, most experienced, these are the persons that are likely to get the chairpersonships in Congress. For example, I am now on Financial Services and Homeland Security. On Financial Services, I have been the ranking member, meaning the person who has the most seniority, and I have been the person that on Financial Services Oversight Investigations, I should say, the person who would be the chairperson if we take back the Congress, and I believe we will, and next year I should be the chairperson of the Oversight and Investigations Subcommittee. Now, there are many people who served for many years in Congress. My colleague Jackson Lee, for example, served in Congress for approximately 30 years and was never a full committee chair. There are people who are waiting in line now to be full committee chairs, and I really respect this system of allowing seniority to prevail, and here's a good reason why. If we fail to keep the seniority system, meaning person most time served, most experience gets first offer, if we fail to do this, then money will rule. And when money rules, people who are in the crypto industry, who have certain pieces of legislation that they'd like to see passed, those people will have just millions upon millions of dollars that they can spend in races, which is what's happening here in Houston. Just a huge amount, more than 5 million spent already, and probably another 5 million will be spent. This may become the most important race by virtue of how people are spending their money in Texas this year. So I'm hoping that people will understand that I'm a longtime public servant. I have delivered. I have not just been there. I have delivered, and I have plenty to say about delivery, but I don't want to go beyond what you've asked me already, which is what I've done. So please ask me another question so that I might get into some other things. But those are the important things that I would like for people to know.
I don't know how many other things it'll take you to, but my other question would be, for many years, you represented, still do currently today, Texas 9. The interesting thing is, in some way, is it a kick in your step? Does it get you excited because in some ways you're a fresh candidate for 1/3 of who you're talking to? You get to go out and have a fresh campaign as opposed to speaking to a group that have already endorsed you year after year.
Well, I think that's important to cultivate a relationship with the new people that are coming into this new District 18. But it's also important to let people know that you don't take them for granted. And that you're going to be there for them and with them as well. So I try to traverse the length and breadth of the district as often as I can. Today I've done multiple events, and I plan to continue to do this. And after this election is over, I plan to try to bring us back together, Ernie, because this is being very divisive. There are people who are dividing us based upon age, and they're trying to somehow say that the young are in some sort of competition with the old, and we're really not. We're all in this together. Unified, we can get much more done than separated, because we have a symbiosis that develops when we unify ourselves. And I hope that people will understand that after this election, I plan to be a unifier. I plan to make sure that I don't see this division continue. I'm not a divider. I'm a unifier.
There may be some critics out there that would say, though, you have been very strong in your opposition to the current president and have spoken out about that and have actually been escorted out of chambers because of your beliefs and your strength. What do you say to folks that say, how can you be a unifier in that environment?
I'm a unifier in that environment in the sense that I'm representing the people that have sent me to Congress, and quite frankly, many other people in this country. I'm a United States congressman. And if I find that the president of the United States is demeaning people by depicting them as animals, I think that I have a duty and a responsibility to call this to his attention. You see, the president is rarely confronted by anyone. And this is the only opportunity that we have to do it. And I do this in a respectful way. I never used any profanity. I did not say anything that would be classified as calling names. I merely indicated with signage that this was a means of disrespecting people of color. And of course, I did with my cane stand and point to the president and tell the president that he did not have a right to cut Medicaid, Medicare, or Social Security. Again, I did not use any profanity or disrespectful language. Now, the president on that same evening stood in the well and called members of Congress lunatics. Well, I've never done anything like that. And I would hope that people will understand that we do have to confront sometimes. We just can't allow things to be said without having some redress. And this is a part of the redress. And when you protest, John Lewis and I were good friends, and he and I understood, as he told me, that when you protest, you've got to be prepared to suffer the consequences. So I've suffered consequences. I was censured for what I did, and I was censured but not silenced. I don't agree with the censor being censured, but I do say to you that I was prepared to suffer the consequences. And the truth is, if given the opportunity, I would do it again, because these were important issues. We ended up seeing $1 trillion cut from healthcare. I was on point and a part of the avant-garde when I told the president that this was something that was disrespectful and that it was something that he didn't have a mandate to do. And when I said that people of color are not apes, by pointing out specifically what he was doing with President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama, that was defending the integrity of people in this country and having them be respected as well. I also have indicated that the president should not depict himself as some representation of Jesus Christ. This is unacceptable behavior. And someone has to have the courage to stand up and say to the president, Mr. President, you're wrong. I just happen to be one of the people who will do it.
Does it surprise you that more members of Congress don't speak out like that?
I believe that people have to be guided by what they perceive to be a question of conscience sometimes. With me, all of these things were questions of conscience. And I do what I believe my conscience dictates. And I've never said to other people, join me or do something similar to what I'm doing. I try to lead by example. If you think I'm a good example, then you can choose to do what I'm doing or something similar. But if not, that's quite okay. I just believe that posterity judges us all. At some point, time will tell, history will judge, and the truth will be known. And I just believe that posterity will look upon what I've done favorably, because in these times when we have a president who's quite rambunctious, a president who seems to believe that he's above the law, I think it requires that you have people who are willing to fight back, as we say it, stand up, be counted, and I happen to be one of those persons.
Looking back at your time you have served already in Congress, you've had a lot of great accomplishments. Which ones do you think will have the lasting impact at this point on the people of Houston or in your district, as I should say? And what do you think you can do additionally now with another term?
Well, thank you. I'm just going to hold this up. I'm not going to read from it. This is a list of accomplishments that we published in the Houston Chronicle and various other newspapers. And when we published this, it was to let people know that not only do we fight, but we win. And that's what we've been doing. So I won't read from it, but I'll tell you what's on here. There on this document 3 federal judges, 3. Rarely can a congressperson claim to have been able to use this system efficaciously to the extent that you were able to get a federal judge. We have 3, Bennett, Costa, and Hanks. And Costa went all the way to the 5th Circuit. We also, you will find on here, and I'm not reading from anything, you'll find on here that we have $100 million for flood control in this area. That's pretty important in a city that's right near sea level. Many people have been helped as a result. We didn't end the flooding, but we have helped to mitigate it. Also, you'll find here that for small businesses, we have $10 billion. A billion is 1,000 million. So this is $10,000 million that we have had to go to small businesses to help them. And then we also had $9,000 million to go to small banks, minority depository institutions, so that they could help small businesses as well. These are things that are very important. I'm also very important about something else because it relates to who I am. And I trust that people will understand the importance of what I'm about to say. But in this country, we honor and pay tribute to the persons who suffered on 9/11, suffered at Pearl Harbor, and also with the Holocaust. But we didn't have a day to honor and commemorate the lives of those who were enslaved for some 240 years. They have not been properly honored. They are the persons who had a hand in building the White House, a hand in building the Capitol. They planted the seeds, harvested the crops, fed the nation. They were the economic foundational mothers and fathers of the country. Whether we like to say that or not, it is the truth. Economic foundational mothers and fathers because of what they did. So we passed in Congress with the assistance of Majority Leader Steny Hoyer legislation honoring them on August the 20th as Slavery Remembrance Day. Just as we have a Holocaust Remembrance Day, we should have a Slavery Remembrance Day. These are 2 crimes against humanity. They're not the same. Nothing can be the equivalent of either of them. And we're not saying that these are the equivalent of each other, but we are saying that it's important that we honor those persons whose lives were sacrificed for centuries to make America the country it is today. I'm very proud of this, and I'll close on this topic with this. I have here a list of legislation that I have put into other legislation. I didn't try to get my name on bills. I tried to put my bills in those 12 appropriation bills that have to pass, because John Lewis taught me, if you put your bill in the appropriations bill, your bill is going to pass in Congress. And that's what we've done, and we were successful at doing this. And this has allowed us to do things that, honestly, we could not have been done otherwise. And from doing this, we have helped to get money for human trafficking. We've helped to money to go into various areas to deal with housing. It's just been a great thing to do, and getting bills passed without being concerned about my name being on bills. It's not the name that you want to deliver. You want to deliver the goods and services from the tax dollars that you send to Washington. And we have been very good about getting that done.
If you go back to Congress, what do you want then to tackle next? What are the issues in front of you that you say they could use some more Al Green attention?
Well, I do think we have to do something about these rulings of the Supreme Court that have gutted the Voting Rights Act. This act, while it was signed in ink by President Johnson, it was written in blood at the Edmund Pettus Bridge with Schwerner Goodman and Cheney, with people who were just trying to do something as simple as register people to vote, and many of them lost their lives. So I want to make sure that we try to do something in Congress to reinstate the Voting Rights Act. Congress can do this. All we need is an act of Congress, and we can change things. But to get an act of Congress, you have to have a Congress willing to act. I am a congressperson who's willing to act, and I'm willing to fight to reinstate, especially the portion of the Voting Rights Act that deals with preclearance, so that we don't find states running out to do what states have done as of late now, to take away congressional seats, to redraw lines mid-cycle. It seems like we ought to redistrict probably about once a decade when we have the census, as opposed to doing it at will to claim more power. I would also, while I'm in Congress in the next years, I'd like to make sure that we end what I call invidious discrimination in lending. It does exist. As the chairperson of the Oversight and Investigation Subcommittee for Financial Services, we were able to acquire the empirical evidence to show that it exists. I want everybody to be able to get bootstraps. We say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, a lot of those bootstraps are in the banks that make the loans. These institutions that make these loans, some of them are not being as fair to some people as they are to others. Latinos, African Americans, Asians, they don't always get the same loan that others can get who are similarly qualified. They may pay more for the loan in terms of points. They may get terms that are more onerous. They may get less money. So I want to make sure that we have a level playing field. I don't want anybody to get any special privileges. Let's just make sure that we have a level playing field so that all people are treated fairly. And I'd also like to see a world where Latinos are not suspect because of the way they look. Currently, we have Latinos, if you speak your native language and you're in this country and you're here lawfully, you're suspect. And there are officers who are now coming up and saying, show me your papers, show me your passport, show me some indicia, some proof that you belong in this country. I don't think people should be suspect because of the way they look. And there's a good reason for it. I was suspect when I was much younger because of how I looked. I understand what it's like to live in a society as a second-class citizen in a first-class country. I don't think that I want to see anyone else suffer it. So I'm going to do all that I can to prevent that kind of suffering. As you can see, I'm a civil rights, human rights advocate, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to bring home the bacon, as it were, bring the tax dollars back, which is what we've done with helping money to get here to airports, to our port of Houston that we have, and to continue to do what I've done by putting things in bills that benefit people as opposed to trying to get my name on legislation.
Conventional wisdom will say whoever wins the primary, the Democratic primary for the new 18th, as you call it, will be our next congressman to the 18th. In this particular race, it is, of course, it's a primary, so it's two Democrats who have Democratic principles that match up for the most part running against each other. When the voter is at the poll, what do you think they should take into consideration and why should they vote for one over the other?
Many years of experience, codification of much of what we've done here. This contains about $20 billion worth of money that we have been able to bring home. I call it bringing home the bacon to people who paid their tax dollars. This will be available on our website. So that experience should count. And also the seniority that I have will count because I will be the chair of a subcommittee on financial services if we take back the House, and I believe that we will. But it's beyond that. It's also knowing how to pass legislation, something that I mentioned earlier about getting the legislation in those 12 bills that we have to pass, getting my bill into those bills. I won't have my name on the cover. It will be transportation bill, or it will be some sort of appropriations bill. But that's what you do to get things done. And finally, this, to protect this seniority system. If I go back, I'm going to protect the seniority system because if we don't have it, people like Al Green and like my opponent, we will have to depend on money from the billionaire class. And you'll have every billionaire, probably not every, but a good many of them, they will own a congressperson because they'll put the millions in. And these races are going to become very expensive for everybody. And only people who will have a billionaire friend will be able to get elected to Congress. So I'm going to go back to fight to protect the seniority system, which is what has allowed people who don't have a lot to have the opportunity to serve as the chairperson of various committees. This is an important thing for us to do. Civil rights, human rights, protecting seniority system, and letting people know that they can still count on me when they have problems with their Social Security, their Medicare, their Medicaid. We help with those things very well, and we do it quite regularly.
An argument can be made that every congressman at some point or other, congressman, congresswoman, is a fresh congressman or congresswoman and has to move through these ranks to get to where you're talking about being at today. I'm curious, in a world where we're so focused these days on the age of elected officials and when is it time for a younger, fresher voice to come in, how do you combat that?
Well, I've never said people should not run. I think that if you're of age, and the Constitution sets it at 25, if you're of age, and you qualify otherwise, that you should run for office. But I do think that when you run, you ought to expect if there's another person in the race for that person to say, here's why I'm qualified to run and become the congressperson for a given area. So it is a competition, and I don't run from the competition. I just don't want people to conclude that simply because I'm a certain age, I should not be a member of Congress. I've never said that people who are young and don't have the experience that I have, that they shouldn't have the opportunity to run and to win. People run and they win, but I think that if you have the opportunity to fly through a storm with a pilot who has flown through storms before, or you can have the pilot who's, say, first day on the job, which would you prefer? The experienced pilot who's flown through storms, who knows how to negotiate and navigate and traverse these kinds of inclement conditions? Or do you want the person who's doing it for the first time? I think most people would take the experience. And experience has been a factor in this country. It is as of late that we are deciding that experience somehow is to be subordinate to age. We have people who are much older than I am in Congress. We have people who are younger than I am in Congress. And I have found this, that I am today a wiser person than I was when I was in my 30s. I'm much wiser. You gain wisdom by being there on the job, getting experience. I'm a wiser person. So I'm older and I'm wiser. And we have traditionally appreciated wisdom and time on task. When you go to a new job and you're hiring in at the very entry level, and that's what Congress people do, you go to a new job at the entry level, you don't become a supervisor immediately. You have to learn the job, and at some point you become a supervisor. And we have people, attrition takes place in Congress all the time. It's almost as though some people are saying there are no young people in Congress, which is not true. We have young people there. It's just that you have other persons who have seniority there as well. And I think it's a good thing to have people with seniority to help the young people find their way. Someone helped me when I was there. John Lewis was a dear friend. We did many things together. And as a result, I learned a lot from him. So I'm going to be there to help younger people coming in. But I do think wisdom counts. And I do think that experience and seniority matters.
I know we've probably already hit this. We have 1 minute left. I'm going to let you close this out with your pitch to voters right now as they listen, as they are facing a choice of who they should vote for.
Well, I want to thank you first for voting. It is important that you do so. And I would encourage you to consider my seniority, the fact that I will be a subcommittee chairperson, and the fact that I have been there to pass legislation that has made a difference. I haven't just been in Congress, I've been in Congress working, and I have passed legislation totaling about $20 billion. This legislation, much of it is codified here, and I would ask people to please give consideration to this and the fact that we pass federal judges through the Congress such that they could go to the bench. And finally, I want people to know that I'm going to serve everybody. I'm going to be a congressperson for you, regardless as to how old you are, how young you are. I will not want to see my community or any community divided between young versus old. We're all in this together. And really, you're as old as you are physically capable of getting things done and mentally capable of getting things done. I have the mental acumen. I am quite physically fit. And my cane that you see me with is not to help me ambulate. I am quite ambulatory. This is my rod and my staff that comforts me in the presence of my enemies when sometimes I don't have the protection that I need. And I thank you, and I pray that I will have your support and so that I may continue to serve you.
Congressman Al Green, quick reminder to everyone, early voting is going on right now. The final election day for this seat for the Democratic primary is on May 26th. Congressman, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, Ernie. And by the way, let's celebrate and commemorate your having been there, 30 plus years?
30 years. Oh, my Lord.
30 years, Ernie.
We were both young men when I got here.
Yes. But I will tell you this. You're not too old, Ernie. You're doing a great job. Let's stay with it, okay?
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Thank you very much. We'll be back with more Hello Houston right after this.
We know you value Houston Public Media. That's why you're watching right now. So take the next step and become a new member of the station you rely on. Every gift makes a difference. And what matters most right now is supporting the station that brings you the news and information you rely on. It only takes a minute to make a big difference. So join as a new member today at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 800-364-8300.
Climate change makes heat waves more intense. So to confront this, some communities in the U.S. are planting dense mini forests.
The plants talk to each other. Like they tell each other that I need more water. Can you send me some? And they work together.
I'm Scott Detrow. We'll have that story as part of our Climate Solutions Week on All Things Considered from NPR News.
You can hear All Things Considered coming up today at 3.
The most reluctant politician we've ever had just happens to have been our first president.
He wasn't a politician. He understood that the political realm was not where his gifts lay. He was really good in the military realm, but in politics, not so much.
The Extraordinary Life of George Washington. That's next time on Think.
Think is on tonight at 11 o'clock.
PBS Drama on HPM Plus.
The dramas you can't stop watching. Now in one place. Stream on demand. Catch up on past seasons with Passport. Search HPM Plus on your smart and connected TVs.
HPM Plus.
Support comes from the Houston Symphony, presenting its season finale this weekend with Mahler's Ninth Symphony. Music director Uri Valchua leads more than 100 musicians in one of Mahler's most remarkable symphonies at Jones Hall. Tickets at houstonsymphony.org.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on today's topics, call or text 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now, Ernie Manouse and guest host Matt Harab.
A lot of news was made earlier this week when President Trump finally endorsed in the Republican runoff for the Texas Senate, choosing to endorse our current AG, Ken Paxton, over the incumbent, John Cornyn. Andrew Schneider is with us right now, and he has some updated information. Andrew, what's going on?
Hi, Ernie. I'm actually just at an event that Senator Cornyn spoke at the Houston Association of Realtors. He just left. He was basically making the case to the association to not just vote themselves, but to encourage their friends, their relatives to vote. And he was arguing the case that Ken Paxton would not only put the seat itself at risk, but could actually hurt down-ballot races as well. He did not, however, have anything particularly negative to say about the president. He stressed, as he has repeatedly throughout the campaign, look, I vote with the president 99-point-something% of the time, and he was seemed to be trying to remain on good terms with the president in spite of the president endorsing his opponent.
So I know when we talked on Tuesday when the news was breaking, we were speculating what his plan would be moving forward. Would he slow down on the race or would he keep going? I'm getting the feeling from what you're saying he's still in this through next week.
He is very much making the case that he is in this to the end, yes.
Andrew, thank you for the update and for covering it. I'm assuming we will be able to get more of your information right here on News 88.7 over the rest of the day and published on our website at houstonpublicmedia.org.
Thank you very much, Ernie.
Andrew Snyder is our politics and government reporter here at NPR. It's kind of a fascinating story, this whole endorsements, do they work? You hear so much in the polling about how the president's approval rating drops and drops and drops. But that's in the totality of the voting populace. If you still look at what's happening in the Republican Party, and especially in the MAGA portion of it, and his supporters, the president still stays very popular.
No question about it. And, that brings up the question, how much do endorsements matter? And they matter. It's proven, at least within the last week or so, that they do matter. So we will see what happens. Andrew will be a part of our election coverage show, which is coming up next week. And you'll be able to hear it right here on News 88.7 and on our YouTube page, which you will be a part of as well.
Yes. Right now, today, though, we're going to get into our current obsessions in just a moment. But there's been a lot going on today with my Erniversary, as we call it, my 30 years at Houston Public Media.
30 years, yes. Congratulations, Ernie. Some comments are definitely coming in right now. Doris Childress, your former co-host, says, happy anniversary. You are the ultimate professional, she says. It's been just a joy working with you and learning from you. Glad you made Houston home. Kirk on our YouTube chat says, happy 30th anniversary. They're coming in, Ernie. This is really a special day. 30 years here at Houston Public Media.
Well, it's very exciting. It's great to hear this information. We have a call on the line. You're welcome to call in and share with us, 713-440-8870. On the line right now, a good friend of our show, the co-founder of Art House Houston, Maureen McNamara, is on the line. Hello, Maureen.
Hello, Ernie, and congratulations on your anniversary.
Well, thank you for that. 30 years. It just flew by.
Well, I know endorsements do matter, so I'm here to endorse you and 30 more years.
Well, thank you very much. And I hear that we may be working together this fall in conjunction with this anniversary.
Yes, I'm very excited. Ernie, many of you know him as a award-winning documentary film person, and he has 3 projects that we're planning to exhibit and celebrate in the fall.
I am thrilled and excited about this. And yes, in my TV work, in addition to hosting programs, we've also made a number of documentaries over the years. And Art House and I have sat down and looked through that body of work and selected 3 different documentaries that kind of give different looks into life in Houston and who we are as a people over a period of time, from the arts to culture to societal norms and differences. And they're going to honor me by doing a mini retrospective, and we'll show those 3 documentaries, and we'll announce more in the fall. Thank you, Maureen, so much for calling and sharing.
We're so excited. Thank you, and congratulations.
And congratulations on the work you're doing, saving the theaters in our community and working hard to do that. Where can they find out more about what you're currently working on?
Well, check us out at arthousehtx.org. That's our website.
Maureen, thank you very much for calling in and sharing today. This has
Thank you.
This has been a pretty amazing little tribute. Thank you,
Has
Matt.
it been everything that you were hoping it would be?
It has been so much more.
Excellent.
Like, I didn't start this morning thinking I would be mentioned in the Congressional record for the U.S. House of Representatives.
If you missed it in the first hour, Ernie is in the Congressional record. Yeah, Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia calling in early to give him that news. Ernie, how do you feel about that?
No words.
It's a pretty cool honor. Forever enshrined in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, we were joking a little bit ago. Now the president knows where I am.
He's
so
aware.
He can find me. He's on to me. The other thing that was really cool was that piece you did that you shared with some of my folks that I've worked with over the years. That has been a lot of fun. And you know what? We quickly want to hit some current obsessions.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your current obsession, Matt?
Well, besides you're the current obsession today. 30, I am. Worked to put that piece together.
I'm your current obsession.
You're my current obsession. I'll give you another one. You mentioned the TV work that you've done. My current obsession is this TV show, which I know a lot of people have seen before, but it's called The Americans. Have you heard of it?
Yes.
I'm now taking a dive. I know it's an older show, not too old of a show, but it's been done. I'm obsessed with that show. Just the history of the Soviet Union, the United States. It's really fascinating, and I am obsessed. almost at the end of season 1 now.
I watched the first couple episodes, and I didn't quite get what was going on, and I stopped watching it. Is it worth getting back into?
Yes, it's a little bit of a slow crawl, but it's a
Speaking
cool
of
show.
slow crawls, one thing you got in trouble for last time you were on and talked about a current obsession was what didn't you say was your current obsession?
Oh,
that slow crawls.
My children. Yeah. Yeah. I am obsessed with my kids. I have an almost 3-year-old and an almost 1-year-old. So, yes, I got to make special mention of them today. I am obsessed with my kids, of course.
You know what else? I know you haven't, and I don't know that we have time for it, so we might not get to it, but you had a letter from Al Pacino?
I did at one point. Al Pacino, yes, your friend Al Pacino. Yes, he did mention you when I was researching that piece, and just the times that you've had, and it was cool to talk to him and get his perspective.
Well, thank you for that. We did do a poll online. It was, how did you get introduced to Ernie? Was it through television, radio, hosting events in public, or who's Ernie? And I'll tell you this, television won with 53%, but 41% of you know me from radio, and 6% of you are, who's Ernie? Why are they wasting all this airtime on him today?
But that's the cool thing about Houston Public Media is being a multimedia company. You have been seen in multiple platforms: radio, online, television, YouTube. Like it's you have been here through the years, through the 30 years.
I've been here through the evolution of technology.
You have,
but we're just getting started. I'm looking forward to the next 30 years with all of you here, Matt. I have enjoyed the time I have known you up till now, and I expect to enjoy it even more after this.
Many more years to go.
I thank you all for listening today. There will be more of Hello Houston. Remember, we're with you every day from 11 to 1 p.m. And right here on News 88.7, we'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Hello Houston. Join us every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. to talk all things Houston. The Hello Houston production team includes Garrett Bowman, William Menefee, Jen Altide, Todd Holslander, and Jim Kovacic. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at HoustonPublicMedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media. This is News 88.7.
Support comes from Metro. World Cup planning includes transit improvements intended to serve Houston after the final match. Metro provides bus, rail, and paratransit service.